All right, well, what is up? And today we are not making a cocktail. We're gonna be talking about all the tools you need to start a home bar, improve your home bar, or just really make sure you have a decked out home bar. Now you can definitely go out and just buy an all-in-one kit, especially if you're just gonna be making easy, simple things for yourself at home. But if you really wanna work on some craftsmanship or elevate your craftsmanship, these are some ideal tools that you'll want. All right, let's start off with the bare minimals, the essentials. Pretty much you have to have these things to start making cocktails. And of course, if you want any of these products that I'm listing and that I can tell you for sure work, the links will be down below. All right, first up is gonna be your cocktail shakers. So this for sure works. When you put these together, they create such a tight seal. It's definitely what you want. And this is the Corico set from Cocktail Kingdom, but I think I got it off Amazon just because it would have gotten to me faster. Cool thing is they come in all different colors, but because I use these so much and over time, and you'll see later in this video, the painted sets, they sort of start to wear off. I definitely wanted something to keep. And what's cool is they have slightly weighted bottoms, so it definitely makes them feel more sturdy. Now, all I have is this one set, so I definitely need to expand and get a couple more, maybe even try the barfly set. Next up is gonna be your jiggers, your way of measuring spirits and ingredients. So when I started, I had no idea, which kind I'd like. So I decided to get 3, and I can kind of tell you my experiences with them. So this one here, the one that just kind of looks like a little cup, is from Barfly. And this one is probably really cool because it has the most space. It can store 2.5. So it goes all the way up to 2.5 ounces if you fill it to the top, which is more than the other two. I also got the black painted one. It's just painted on the outside, not the inside, but it looks pretty cool. And not only does it have ounces, it also has milliliters and tablespoons. This one is really easy to just hold, pour your liquids in, and pour it into the glasses. The one con I will say about this is that it doesn't have the measurements on the inside, they're only on the outside. So when you're pouring stuff in, you just kind of have to memorize which line is where, because you can't really tell from looking into it. Next is what's called a Japanese style jigger. So this is these kind of skinny ones, tall, what you'll probably see in a lot of restaurants. This is also from Barfly, and it is also the painted one. Unfortunately, this one seems to have melted its paint. I made the mistake of putting it in the dishwasher. You probably want to hand wash them if you have the painted ones. But anyways, this one is 2 ounces on one side and 1 ounce on the other. The 1 ounce side has 3/4 of an ounce, half an ounce, and even 1/4 of an ounce. And the 2 ounce side has a marking for 1.5 ounces. Now I will say I use this one a lot. It was my first one, and I think the reason I use it a lot is because a lot of my drinks call for 2 ounces, 1 ounce of, certain ingredients. So it's just easy for me to know, okay, this side I'll put the booze in, this side I'll put the lemon juice or another ingredient in. And it just kind of makes this my go-to choice. And the writing is on the inside for this. That's another cool point. I guess my one negative, it's probably the least, it doesn't feel the best in the hand. This is the worst at being ergonomical. And then lastly, I have one from the brand OXO. I think that's how you pronounce it, or OXO. And this is probably my favorite one, not necessarily my most used one, but it's my favorite just because of the design. This one, when you fill it to the brim, it stays. I don't tend to spill a lot. Unlike this one, I definitely spill a lot in the Japanese style jiggers. But this one only goes up to 1.5 ounces on the big side and 1 ounce on the smaller side. It goes 1 ounce, half ounce, 1/4 of an ounce, and then the 1.5 ounce, 3/4 of an ounce, and 1/3 of an ounce. Interesting measurement there. So all of them work pretty well, and I like all of them. So if whatever you choose based on what I've said, you'll like them too. And I'll be honest, that pretty much is it for the bare essentials tool. Literally just ways to measure to get your ingredients in to make sure you're getting a consistent cocktail, and then the tool to shake it, which you'll need for pretty much anything. Even if you want to make a still drink, that's something that you stir instead of shake. You could use the bigger tin of the shakers, and you can use a house spoon really if you need to stir like that. Just to get started, I think that's what you need. All right, let's take it up to that next step, things that you probably should have at a home bar and things so you're not using your home spoons to stir. And I'll start off with a bar spoon. So the bar spoon that I use is from Cocktail Kingdom. I got the matte black one. I love the look of this thing and the usefulness of this. So I'm gonna be pretty specific about this. This style, you don't have to get it black, but this style is pretty necessary, and I would say this is probably the best, in my opinion, that you should get. And there's a couple of reasons why. So number one, the spoon is not molded on the end of the stick. It is all one piece here. I use it a lot if I just want like a bar spoon of a rich, simple syrup. I use this bar spoon to measure that out. And you should be able to do that if the weights are, the same on both sides, which brings me to the next point. That's what this is at this end, or I should say the other end, which is a counterweight. And if you watch my whiskey sour, you'll know exactly why I think this style is the best. Now this one, I honestly went back and forth if it was considered an essential or not. I eventually decided it wasn't, because you technically can put these two together and strain out with a very small opening and get your drinks out, so you don't technically need a strainer. But I would say if the next thing you get after the essential should be in a strainer. So I believe these are called Hawthorne strainers, and the one I have is from OXO. This is my favorite. I went through and looked at a bunch, and this is the one that I thought was the best. This is just off Amazon, but I'm sure you could probably get it in Target or something. I like it because it does not have a handle, something that sticks out, which a lot of times when I'm trying to grab, my shaker or a stirring thing, and I'm trying to push, the last thing I want is a little handle in my way no matter how I grab it. So this just has a little nub, but besides that, it also has this little rubber thing on top, which is kind of like a handhold for your pointer finger. And so when you hold it over a drink, let's say this is on top of your stir, you can hold it by that and you can push it down or up depending on how much you want to get through. All right, you probably see this in all my other videos. This is something I like to have. This is just a little bar mat so you don't make a mess at home. It just keeps everything on there. Throw this in the dishwasher at the end and it just works. So this is just a very small one for making one drink. I really just got this for my YouTube videos. If you're doing a little bit more hosting guests, things like that, you might want to get a bigger one, but I just have this little 6 inches by 1 foot mat, and it was pretty cheap. Now next thing up is a strainer. Now the one I have is really more kitchen grade, but it's a very fine mesh strainer, and I just found this to work so amazing. Now I will say I am thinking about getting a bigger one for making bigger batches of, say, lime or lemon juice if I do want to like host a party or something. And that brings me to something else I use pretty much every time that I have to use my strainer, and that's a little funnel. Now I honestly just went to Walmart and I found this in just the kitchen section, I believe, and just in this little tub. I think this was like $2 or $3. I'll try and find the link. I think it was in my simple syrup video as well, but this is uber cheap. All right, now this is one that I consider probably something that you should get, but it could also be considered a luxury item, and that's gonna be a stirring glass. And obviously this carrying case from Cocktail Kingdom was just a splurge purchase on my part. Definitely something you don't need. But that is my mixing glass, which I just got on Amazon. So I think it's still cool because it has the etched designs on the bottom, and it also does not have a glass crease. It is creaseless on its whole design with a good weight at the bottom. So in my opinion, it's just everything that you need without having to pay extra money for a name, really. It's just the perfect size. I believe it's 500 and 550 milliliters. Just ideal classic size and use for a stirring glass. All right, so that's everything I think that you need for a home bar. And honestly, if you had all that stuff, you could make quite a bit of drinks. Now let's just talk about some luxuries or things that you don't necessarily always need, or even some things that I found to be, not necessary whatsoever. So this tool, much like the mixing glass, was something I was on the fence about where it should be. But I think if you're actually working at a bar, this might be necessary. At a home bar, maybe not so much. And that's gonna be a muddler. Now, I've had this for, oh God, who knows how long. I'm pretty sure probably close to 10 years. I don't even know how it's been in my house, but I've always had this thing. Top is probably gonna come off soon. So this muddler is probably what you're gonna find at a lot of bars, and just a classic, just a metal little rod and a plastic tip at the end with some indentations to help muddle. So if I was gonna get another one, I would get one that is metal, similar to this, but instead of being plastic at the end, it just continues the metal part, and then the metal is actually indented on the end as well. Next up are peelers. So the first one I start with is this one. I believe is like $7 on Amazon. So I'll just leave the link for this one because this is definitely the one that like a lot of people recommend. But what you want to look for is a Y-shaped one, not the ones that look like the potato peelers that are on one line. Definitely want a Y-shaped one to help you get that good peel. It's a Swiss design. And the other peeler is going to be the one that you get those long strands off a lemon or lime, kind of like that thing that you put into a French 75. Now, this is one where I probably think I messed up. Now, I have one from OXO. I've been looking for one and I just couldn't find one online that I liked, had good reviews that, you know, everyone was using. So I ended up getting this one, and it cuts pretty well. It cuts easily into limes and lemons, but I just haven't found it easy to use, been consistently able to get long strands with it, but I'd rather probably find something else. I've seen a lot of ones on like Instagram and stuff that have these wooden handles. They look really cool. But yeah, this is something that I'm looking to replace soon. All right, now this one, I honestly don't know why I bought this. I just thought it'd be super cool. It's just like a little spoon, uber cheap for getting ice out, but that's not how I get my ice. So this is just one of those things I bought because I thought it was fun, and I don't use it. Oh, I completely forgot to mention when I was mentioning the other strainer, and this one is definitely a luxury, so that's why I didn't include it earlier. But this is a julep strainer, I believe it's called. So I got this like matte black one. I think it's so cool. I've only used it once. This is also by Cocktail Kingdom. They have their big logo printed in there. But this will just go in your drink. You could do it this way or, you know, this way. Either way, and you just, you know, strain. I don't think you really ever need this, but if you want to look the part, you know, for certain drinks, I think this looks cool. You can use these for your stirred drinks and your Hawthorne strainer for your shaken drinks. And then I have this set of tweezers. This is also from Cocktail Kingdom. It's also in that gunmetal color. And this is to get the Luxardo cherries out of my little container without actually having to touch the cherries because that juice is slimy and I don't want it all over my fingers. But this is just definitely something that's really nice to have, but you don't need. All right, for you tiki people, this might be something that is one of those necessities. So if you're into tiki drinks or crushed ice, this is how you can make it at home. You can have these little canvas bags. They do get cold, but you can put ice in them and then just kind of close it up like this. And then you just take your wooden mallet and you just smash the ice and it turns regular ice into crushed ice. I lost my hammer and I tried to use it as a hammer once. It didn't really work. I think I did more damage to the mallet than I did the nails. And another one coming from my whiskey sour video is gonna be cocktail toothpicks. I believe I just got these at a grocery store. These are extra long. I like these because of their shape. They've got little indentations on one end and the point on the other end. And they're just long enough to be able to fit olives, any kind of garnish, cocktail onions, but also I can use them as a tool to make designs on sours with bitters. Now, if you want something fancy, you can definitely get some metal ones that are also reusable, and those look really cool too. And the last thing that is probably my most recent addition, something I've never used yet, but it just came in a kitchen set that I just got, and it is this egg white like separator. So if you crack an egg and put it in this thing, the egg white should come through, but the yolk should stay in it. I've never used it. I think it's just something that, you know, I probably just don't have time for, but you know, if you just need it, you can use it. Now, I think that is pretty much everything that I have to, you know, to my collection. The only thing I might not have up here is a cutting board. I think everyone should have cutting boards and knives. I might do a part 2 on this video where it's just other bar necessity things that you can have, like storage containers and other tools like paring knives. that I don't think are necessary bar tools for creating cocktails, but just things that you could need or have. If you do want to see that, let me know down below. I really think that I found the best tools possible to have at a home bar while also keeping it somewhat cost effective. If you guys like this, let me know down below. Leave that like. You guys have been awesome so far, so thank you. So yeah.